My name is Dr. Samir Dashputre, Assistant Professor in Mathematics, Government College Arjunda. Today we discuss MSc 4th semester topic Nonlinear Programming Problem, which is in the unit number 5. Basically, first we define the linear programming problem, then we discuss the nonlinear programming problem, then after that we discuss the solution of nonlinear programming problem by various method here. So first of all, we define a small introduction part of a linear programming problem. So basically in the third semester, we have already discussed the linear programming problem and the method to simplify the linear programming problems here. So what is our linear programming problem? We have a suppose we have maximum of z or minimum of z is equal to cx subjected to constraint ax is equal to b, or sometimes this ax is greater than or equal to b, or sometimes this ax is equal to b here, and all x is greater than or equal to 0. Then this particular problem is said to be linear when this problem or this part is a linear equation. That is, here we write down our problem in this form: the maximization of z is equal to 3x1 plus 2x2, and subject to constraint is supposed to be 2x1 plus 5x2, which is less than or equal to 6. Then we say that this particular problem is a linear programming problem where x1 and x2 both is greater than or equal to 0. So we skip this part because we have already discussed about the linear programming problem and the method to discuss this linear programming problem in third semester. Instead of the linearity, we use this problem. Suppose x1 multiplied x1 plus 2x2 whole square minus 3x1 into x2, or we use this problem: the maximization of z is equal to x1 into x2, STC is your x1 square plus 2x2 is less than or equal to 6, where the x1 and x2 is greater than or equal to 0. So this particular problem is called nonlinear programming problem. So under this topic we discuss the solution of nonlinear programming problem. So there are two types of the nonlinear programming problem. One we discuss in this board, where we assume that our subjected to constraint is less than inequality. The another problem is the maximization or minimization of z is equal to 3x1 plus 4x2 square subjected to constraint is 2x1 plus 5x2, it is equal to 6. That is equality and the non-equality constraint. So this particular example associate with equality constraint, but this particular example in which we assume that this is linear constraint but it is non-equality constraint here. So we deal these two problems in this case. So when we discuss the nonlinear programming problem, so a famous problem in this nonlinear programming problem is quadratic linear programming problem. That is the QLPP, quadratic linear programming nonlinear programming problem. So what is your quadratic nonlinear programming problem? Let here z is equal to quadratic linear programming problem. Let here x belongs to r to the power n be a set of real numbers, that is x1, x2, xn with the n tuple elements. C belongs to r to the power n, that is your c1, c2, cn. Okay, and q is a symmetric matrix of n cross n defined by the optimize of z is equal to Cx plus 1 by 2 xt Qx subjected to constraint Ax is less than or sometime it is greater than or equal to b, and all x is greater than or equal to 0, then the problem number 1 is called a quadratic non-linear programming problem, where xt qx represent a non-linear part here. The xtq is represent your non-linear part. So we solve this programming problem by three different methods. One is Bell's algorithm, second one is steepest ascent method, and third one is the Wolf methods here. So today we discuss the Bell's algorithm to simplify our problem. Bell's algorithm to solve the problem. Bell's algorithm. Now, what is the Bell's algorithm? So, suppose here we consider our problem. The maximization of z is equal to Cx plus 1 by 2 xt Qx. STC is Ax is less than or equal to b, and all x is greater than or equal to 0. All x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Now, according to this algorithm, our step number 1, convert QLPP into a standard QLPP. Now, what is the mean? Convert the quadratic linear programming problem into the standard linear programming problem. What is the meaning of the standard quadratic linear programming problem? First of all, our problem is maximized. If it is maximization problem, then there is no problem. If it is supposed to be minimization, in that case we change this maximization problem into the minimization, just multiply the minus sign into objective function. Subjected to constraint is your less than or equal to. If it is not, then we multiply minus sign both the side and it will be converted into the less than or equal to format here. Now the second step is step number 2, bifurcate or select basic and non-basic variable. Basic and non-basic variables, because this method is totally based on these two concepts, basic and non-basic variable. Here we denote xb is your set of basic variable, and x and b denote the set of non-basic variable. So we select the basic and non-basic variable, and it is denoted by xb and xnb. Now is the step number 3, express objective function and subjected to constraint in the terms of non-basic variable. This is very important step, because each and every step we repeat this process. Express objective function and subjected to constraint in the terms of the non-basic variable. In the step number 4, we compute the partial derivative of function with respect to x and b. This is very important step. We compute the partial derivative of del f by del x of x and b, and we set all the non-basic variable it is equal to 0. Suppose in any case we have some free variable like that ui, then we compute the partial derivative of this function at ui, and there is possibility is some x and b variable included in this expression. Therefore we calculate this partial derivative at 0, ui at 0 and x and b at equal to 0, and check whether these partial derivatives are greater than 0, are equal to 0, or less than or equal to 0 here. So in this step we have the three conditions, three cases arises. The case number one, if all del f by del x and b at x and b it is equal to 0 and ui it is equal to 0, that is this partial derivative is 0 with del f by del ui it is equal to 0, then the current basic solution is an optimum solution. That means we stop our process. But suppose second case, if this is greater than 0, the partial derivative is greater than 0, like that, if the del f by del x and b at x and b is equal to 0 and ui it is equal to 0 for k is any number, it is greater than 0, in that case we select the, then we select the largest positive value of del f by del x and b k for del x and b k is del x and b is equal to 0 and ui is equal to 0 for at least 1k. This is very important. This particular case says that if this partial derivative for k is greater, at least 1k is greater than 0, if there are two positive values, in that case we select the largest one. If there is only one, then obviously it is a single, and in that case our x and bk is enter into the basic set. This is important. So this non-basic variable becomes your basic variable in the next iteration process, and there is a possibility one of the non-basic variable will be removed or it is still on the x and b. Now, the case number 3, del f by del x and b k for I suffix here is less than 0 and del f by del ui is equal to 0, then in case we introduce a free variable, a free non-basic variable, say ui, it is equal to del ff by del ur. This is three condition. So condition 1 provide an optimality condition. Condition 2 provide the which variable is entered into the basic set and which one is removed. The remove case will be discussed in the next step. In this condition number 3 says that if this partial derivative at x and b is equal to 0 and ui it is equal to 0, less than 0, and this is equal to 0, under the same condition. Okay, then in case we introduce a free variable ui is equal to del f by del ur. Now the next step, this is the condition for entering the variable into the basic set. Now there is condition for removing the element from the basic set. Okay, so let here the step number 5 or 6, 5. Let here x n b k, which is equal to supposed to be xh. Okay, it will be enter into the basic set. It will be enter into a basic set. How we can identify this particular variable enter into the basic set? Just we refer the previous step. In the previous step, the case number 2 implies that our partial derivative is greater than 0 x bk, and we compute the minimum ratio and compute minimum ratio of x alpha h0 upon mod of l alpha h comma gamma k0 upon gamma kk. Now the question is, what is your alpha, what is your gamma? So we have two sets, one set related with non-basic variable and another set related with the non-basic variables here. So alpha related with basic variables, and it is related with those basic variables they are entered. Alpha is the value which is related with basic variable, and those related with entered related with basic variable, and k is suffix which is related with those variable they are entered. Okay, so this particular part explained in example. And gamma is related with partial derivatives. Okay, and k is a suffix which is enter into the basic set. Again there are two possibility. One possibility, if it is this is minimum or this is minimum. If this part is minimum, alpha h0 or alpha is minimum, the minimum ratio occurs corresponding to alpha. Then in case alpha, then in case xh remove from basic set and xk enter. Okay, if minimum ratio occurs corresponding to gamma, in this case we introduce a new non-basic variable that is called free variable ui, which is equal to 1 upon 2 delta fx over xk. Introduce this new non-basic variable here. So if minimum is this, then xa remove from the basic set, and in place of xh we enter the xk, it is your k, not n. And minimum ratio occurs corresponding to gamma. In that case we introduce a new non-basic variable that is called the free variable. Now then after that process we deal the problem according to the step number 2. In the step number 2 we express the each basic variable into the non-basic variable, and along with objective function expressed in the terms of the non-basic variables here. Repeat step number 4. That means again we calculate the partial derivatives, check condition 1, condition 2 and condition 3. If condition 1 is hold, then we have an optimum solution. If it is not hold, then either it may be satisfy the condition 2 or condition 3, and using the step number 5 until and unless once we get the partial derivatives which is greater than or equal to 0 here. Now we come to the numerical example to explain our algorithm. We come to the explain the algorithm. Our numerical example is very simple. We take here the maximization of z is equal to 4x1 plus 6x2 minus x1 square minus 3x2 square. Our STC subjected to constraint is 2x1 x1 plus 2x2 which is less than or equal to 4. The x1 and x2 is greater than or equal to 0 here. Now we have a quadratic equation because this part is quadratic. So our step number 4 according to step number 1, not 4, according to step number 1, introduce x3 as a slack variable in STC. We introduce this slack variable in STC and rewrite our problem. The z is equal to fx, which is equal to 4x1 plus 6x2 minus x1 square minus 3x2 square, and STC becomes the x1 plus 2x2 plus x3, it is equal to 4, and all x1 and x2 and x3 which is greater than or equal to 0, non-negative. Okay. The step number 2, according to step number 2, we select the basic and non-basic variables. We select the basic and non-basic variable. So here we assume that, let us assume that x3 as a basic variable, that is x b contain only singleton element x3, while x and b contain two elements x1 and x2. Always you select the basic variable as a always you select the slack variable as a basic variable in the initial stage, and we refine the problem in such way our basic variables becomes non-basic and non-basic variable becomes to be basic variable, because we know that our x1 and x2 is a decision variable or key variable, and we find out the solution in the terms of the x1 and x2 here. So in initial stage we consider all the slack variables as a basic variables here. Now we solve the problem in such way. Our subjected to constant written in this form, x3 it is equal to 4 minus x1 minus 2x2, say it is your equation number 1. Our fx it is equal to 4x1 plus 6x2 minus x1 square minus 3x2 square, say it is your equation number 2. It is your step number 3. In the step number 3 we write down each basic variable in the terms of the non-basic variable. This is basic variable expressed in the terms of the non-basic variables here. Now partially differentiate equation 2 with respect to x1 and x2 and putting the x1 and x2 it is equal to 0 after that. So our del f by del x1 becomes 4 minus 2x1. Simultaneously we put x1 it is equal to 0 and x2 it is equal to 0, then it becomes to be 4, and del f by del x2 it is equal to 6 minus 6x2. Again we put x1 is equal to 0 and x2 it is equal to 0, then it becomes to be 4. 6. And according to the condition, the partial derivatives at non-basic variable points are greater than 0, so we select the largest one. So here we observe that this is your largest one and say it is your equation number 3. So x2 enter into the basic set. x2 enter into the basic set. So here x2 enter into the basic set. Now the question is, the number of variables in the basic set is still same or it will be changed. So here we observe that the x2 is entering into the basic set, so obviously this number will be increased and this number will be decreased by one variable, or maybe one variable introduced in the x and b. It depends upon our ratio. Now we compute the minimum ratio alpha h upon alpha h gamma k upon mod of gamma k. Now what is the k? K in this case, because x2 is entered, this x2 is entered due to the largest positive value, so you can put alpha 2 h, okay, and 2 2. Okay. Now what is h? We have observed that we have only one variable, basic variable x3, which is expressed in the terms of x1 and x2, so h becomes your 3. You can substitute alpha 3, it is your 0 upon alpha 3 2, gamma 2 0, this is constant term, 2 0 upon gamma 2 2. Please correct it here, this is gamma 2 2, because the second variable is insert here. So we compute this, the minimum of 3 0, that means we collect the constant term, the expression number 3, variable number 3, we collect the constant term, that is 4 upon its coefficient is minus 2, comma, this is gamma is associated with partial derivative 6 upon minus 6. We solve this problem, then minimization becomes 2 comma 1, which is equal to 1, which is related with this variable, which is related with this variable, that is your gamma minimum related with the gamma. And if the minimum related with the gamma, in that case we introduce a new free variable, new non-basic free variable u1. Since the minimum occurs corresponding to, since the minimum ratio occurs corresponding to gamma, therefore we introduce a new non-basic free variable ui, which is equal to del f by del x2. This is problem. Okay. So we compute the ui, that ui is partial derivative 1 by 2. 1 by 2, the partial derivative of this portion, we have del f by del x2 is 6 minus 6x2, which is equal to 3 minus 3x2. So u1 becomes, divided by 2, u1 becomes 3 by 2 minus 3 by 2 x2. Okay. Now we compute the value of x2 here. We compute the value of x2. Okay, we compute the value of x2, that is equal to u1, it is equal to 3 by 2. Sorry, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. The u1 becomes 3 minus 3x2. Okay, the u1 becomes 3 minus, because 2 is divided here, so 3x2 becomes 3 minus u1, so x2 becomes 1 minus u1 upon 3. This is your value of x2. Say it is your equation number 4. Just correct it here. Again rewrite that. This expression is mistake here, because 2 is divided, so this is 3 minus 3 x2, so x2 here 3 minus u1, so x2 becomes 1 minus u1 upon 3. Okay, now come to the again equation number 1. Again equation number 1. Now again we rewrite the equation number 4. x2 it is equal to 1 minus u1 upon 3. This is your equation number 4. Now come to the equation number 1. Our x3 it is equal to 4 minus x1 minus 2x2. Now since x2 is your 1 minus u1 upon 3, so this expression can be written as 4 minus x1 minus 2. We substitute the value of u2, 1 minus x2, 1 minus u1 upon 3. Now after simplification we have x3 it is equal to 2 minus x1 plus 2u1 upon 3. So it is your equation number 5. So here we observe that our x2 and x3 both are the member of basic variables. Therefore we compute these basic variables in the terms of non-basic variables. Now rewrite equation number 2, that is your fx, that fx it is equal to 4 into x1 plus 6 into x2. What is your x2? x2 is 1 minus u1 upon 3. Then minus x1 is square minus 3 into x2 square. x2 square means 1 minus u1 by 3 whole square. This is your say equation number 6. This is your equation number 6. Now the equation number 4, 5 and 6, they are expressed in the terms of non-basic variables, and here the x1 and u1 is your non-basic variables and xb is your x2 and x3. Okay. So partially differentiate f with respect to x1 and compute the value at x1 is equal to 0 and u1 is equal to 0. So we have 4 minus 2x1 which is equal to 0. Agree? Now it is equal to 4. The del f by del u1 which is equal to minus 6 upon 3 minus 3 multiplied by 2, 1 minus u1 upon 3, okay, with minus 1 by 3, the derivative of this portion. So you observe that this is minus 2, this minus and this minus become plus, 3 to the 6, this 3 and this 3 is cancelled, plus 2, and it becomes 0. So here again we observe that this partial derivative is greater than 0. So what it implies? It implies that our x1 enter into the basic set. Our x1 enter into the basic set. Now we compute the minimum ratio for removing the variables. So we have the two basic variables. One is your x2, one is your x3, and this one is important for computing the minimum ratio. So minimum of alpha 20 upon modulus of alpha 21. Next is alpha 30 modulus of alpha 31, comma gamma 2 0 upon gamma 2 1. Now in this equation we have constant term is 1, but there is no coefficient of x1, therefore we put here 0. So obviously it is very largest among these two ratio. Now in the next point, this is 4 upon alpha 3 1, alpha 3 sorry 2 upon the coefficient of x1 is minus 1, so that 2 upon 1 gamma 2 0 is here 4 upon minus 2. Okay, so minimum is psi here 2 and 2, so we select corresponding to alpha, because if we are selecting corresponding to gamma, then again we introduce a new variable u2 and the process is too lengthy. So better to choose the minimum corresponding to decision variable. Our decision variable is x2, slack variable is x3. The problem is associated with x1 and x2, therefore we move toward our decision variable. So x2 is entered, x1 is entered, while x3 is dropped. From basic set. If we are selecting this ratio, then obviously we introduce a new non-basic variable that is called u2, and this u2 is nothing but it is partial derivative 1 by 2 the partial derivative of del f by del x1. So it is too lengthy our solution, it is better to select the minimum corresponding to alpha. So the x3 is dropped, so come in equation number 5. So from equation number 5, we write down expression x1 it is equal to 2 minus x3 plus 2u1 upon 3. x2 is again same u1 upon 3. The objective function becomes fx is equal to 4 times x1 2 minus x3 plus 2u1 upon 3, then plus 6 times 1 minus u1 upon 3 minus x1 is square, that is 2 minus x3 plus 2u1 upon 3 whole square minus 3 times 1 minus u1 upon 3 whole square. Again we observe that these three equations, they are expressed in the terms of the non-basic variable. Here the basic variables are x1 and x2, while x and b is your non-basic variable x3 and x1. So you can observe that our problem is start from non-basic variable. The non-basic variable is x1 and x2 in the first step. Here we have it becomes basic variable, and all those basic variables becomes a non-basic variables here. Now we partially differentiate this equation. Del f by del x3 and compute x1 it is equal to x3 it is equal to 0 and u1 it is equal to 0, and after calculation it becomes to be 0. You have to calculate that. Okay, now the del f by del u1, x3 it is equal to 0 and u1 it is equal to 0, again it becomes to be 0. So we reach an optimum condition. In the previous case it is greater than 0, but here we observe that both partial derivatives at x3 and u1 are 0, so we have an optimum condition, optimality condition reached here. So we reach an optimum condition. We have an optimum condition, so we compute the value of x1 is 2, x2 is 1, and maximize of z becomes here, maximization of z becomes 4 into x1 is 2 plus 6, x2 is 1 minus 4 minus 3, so it becomes here 8 plus 6 14, so it becomes here 7. Now how we compute this? X2 is 2 and x1 is x1 is 2 and x2 is 1 by using this relation. Here we assume that our x3 and u1 is 0, so this expression is 0, this expression is 0, then x1 becomes 2 and x2 becomes to be 1. So it is very small demonstration of the Bell's algorithm in which we consider only one single subjected to constraint. The problem may be considered to more than one subjected to constraint. In that case, we have increased the number of slack variable x3 and x4 here. Initial stage we consider the x3 and x4 as a slack variable, okay, basic variable, and the key decision variables are non-basic variables. Repeat this process, okay, and then finally you got this answer.